Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a negotiation tactic from Chris Voss's Never Split the Difference that sounds completely backward but is pure genius. Gaining the upper hand by giving it away.
Imagine the biggest failure of your professional life. Well, for one lead FBI negotiator, this was it. In this single crisis, it would completely rewrite the playbook for how the FBI handles negotiations from that point on.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're in the Philippines. It's 2001. A radical group called Abu Sayyaf storms a private resort and takes 20 people hostage, including 3 Americans. For the negotiators who showed up, well, it was an absolute nightmare right from the get-go.
And this really gets to the heart of the problem, right? The old way of doing things. The FBI, the Philippine military, they treated this whole thing like a showdown. It was basically a wrestling match, just trying to wear the other guy down until they tapped out. And that whole confrontational style, yeah, it was about to go down in flames, spectacularly.
And it just got worse. For 13 months, think about that, over a year, this thing just spiraled out of control. There was zero trust. You had turf wars breaking out between all the different agencies involved. All the while, the kidnappers are getting more and more violent. There was a botched ransom drop, a failed rescue mission. It was just this slow-motion disaster that, in the end, actually cost more lives to friendly fire.
So, what was at the absolute core of this disaster? The negotiators are totally paralyzed. They were terrified of giving anything away, of feeling like they owed the hostage takers. They were so scared they wouldn't even ask for proof of life. Just think about that. That fear of just asking a simple question, it was a fatal mistake.
But you know what's crazy? The breakthrough, that big aha moment that would change everything, it didn't come from some high-tech training facility. Nope, it came from a totally unrelated case, a kidnapping involving a couple of drug dealers in Pittsburgh.
So get this is the exact moment. An FBI negotiator is driving around with this drug dealer whose girlfriend has been kidnapped. And the guy, with zero training, no script, just blurts this out on the phone to the kidnapper. It wasn't some clever, pre-planned demand. It was just a simple, honest question.
And you won't believe what happened. The kidnapper on the other end just went silent. He was totally disarmed. And then his whole tone changed, and he just offered to put the hostage on the phone. This one guy with no training at all did something the FBI's best and brightest couldn't pull off in the Philippines. He got what he wanted without giving up a single thing in return.
And that, right there, is the whole secret. The kidnapper actually thought putting the hostage on the phone was his idea. You see, the drug dealer gave him the illusion of being in charge, and by doing that, he got exactly what he needed.
So this one accidental success story, it became the blueprint for a tool that's so powerful, you can use it in pretty much any conversation. And the whole trick is just in how you frame your questions.
These are what Chris Voss calls calibrated questions, and they're brilliant. They're basically open-ended questions that are specifically designed to make the other person feel like they're in the driver's seat, all while they're actually, without even realizing it, solving your problems for you.
Okay, so the formula here is surprisingly simple. You want to start your questions with what or how. That's it. Those words force people to think and explain. You got to avoid words like can or is because those just get you a yes or a no. And the word why, just don't use it. It almost always puts people on the defensive, like you're accusing them of something.
Okay, these are your go-tos, your heavy hitters. And my favorite by far is, how am I supposed to do that? It's genius because it's not aggressive. You're not saying, I can't do that. You're literally asking for their help. You're turning them from an opponent into a partner who's now working to solve your problem.
Okay, but here's the thing. There's a huge catch. You can have the perfect words, the most brilliant questions memorized, but it's all completely useless if you can't control the one person who can screw it all up, yourself, your own emotions.
So check out this story. There's this marketing strategist, right? And she's owed $7 grand by this client who's just the worst. Super difficult, a total penny pincher. So she actually works with Chris Voss to create what they think is a completely foolproof script to get her money.
And I mean, this plan was a work of art. It was this perfect, multi-step process. It was designed to make the CEO feel powerful while gently guiding him to the conclusion that, yeah, he had to pay his bill. On paper, you just couldn't beat it.
But you know what happened? The CEO calls her out of the blue, catches her off guard, and the second she hears his voice, all that anger just boils up. And suddenly, the script is gone. Her only mission is to prove him wrong, to win. And just like that, it's not a negotiation anymore, it's a fight.
And the result of that fight? She got exactly $0. Not a single cent. It's such a tough lesson, but it's so important. How you deliver your words is often way more important than the words themselves.
And this really shows us who the real enemy is in these situations. It's what Voss calls the hostage mentality. It's that feeling you get when you think you're losing control and your fight or flight instincts just take over. The only way to beat it is to feel it coming, take a breath, bite your tongue, and let the logical part of your brain get back in the driver's seat.
All right, so let's tie this all together. What's the big takeaway here? What's the one strategy that combines all these ideas?
It's a concept called listener's judo. And it's just like it sounds. You're not trying to slam your opponent to the mat. You're using their energy, their momentum, to gently guide them exactly where you want them to end up. And the best part? They think they're the one leading the whole time.
So here's what you really need to remember. First, confrontation is your enemy. Avoid it. Second, use those how and what questions to create that illusion of control. Make them solve your problem. And maybe most importantly, when you feel attacked, do not attack back. Just pause and ask a calibrated question. Your own self-control is the foundation that makes all of this work.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Who really has the power in a conversation? The person talking or the person listening? The talker is giving away information, but the listener is guiding the entire conversation. So the next time you're negotiating anything, a car, a raise, anything at all, just remember to ask yourself, who's really in control here?